Hello, Madfest. Hope you're coping really well, having a good day despite whatever the weather can throw at us outside. I've brought my yesterday outfit today. We're going to be talking about word of mouth. I'm CEO and co-founder of Mention Me. I've spent the last 13 years of my life building a SaaS business around word of mouth. Okay, and word of mouth is such an incredible channel, and micro-influencers are a way to deliver word of mouth at scale. So first up, why is word of mouth so interesting? Well, I'd like to think back to the last time that you took up a recommendation from a friend. Now, it could be a TV show, a restaurant, a pair of shoes, some way to save money, a new service. Think about something. It probably was recent because we humans love to do this all the time. We have conversations about recommendations. Think about what that conversation was like. So there's two magical things that happen when that recommendation happens between two friends. So first up, it's relevance. So when you're having a conversation about something, you understand each other, you know each other, especially if the person knows you well, they're filtering what they're saying to you to be relevant, and so that lands in the moment. This is personalization done really well. Now, we talk about personalization in the digital world, and we try to do it with data and everything else, but humans can do personalization to perfection. So the second thing that happens in that conversation is trust, because you have a relationship with that person. You know each other, you understand each other, and the person's not going to tell you about something, they're not going to make a recommendation if they don't believe that it's going to be good for you. So what's good for them is good enough for you. Okay? That trust means that when that person, having had the recommendation, turns up at a brand, they come to that brand predisposed to liking and trusting the brand. They tend to spend more in their first purchase, and they tend to stick around longer. These are not like other customers of yours. Okay? Now, trust in general is in decline in marketing channels. So advertising, other forms of marketing, it's harder and harder to get cut through. But if you ask consumers how they like to discover products, how they like to find out about new products, they always put trusted recommendation from a friend or family member at the top of that list. And so consumers want this channel as well. Now, we run hundreds of referral programs for lots of big brands across the UK, Europe, and the US. And what's been really interesting, hidden in the data that we see from about referrals and recommendations over the last few years, is amongst all of the customers who maybe refer one friend or two friends, is the rise of people who refer lots of people who have influence, people who have reach. They are the ambassadors, the champions, the micro-influencers of the world. That's where we need to lean to. So just 1 second. I've lost my train of thought. What's amazing is that content creators over the last few years have grown in volume, and that's where this micro-influencer is coming from. So this is a stat: 92% of consumers trust a micro-influencer more than an ad or celebrity endorsement. Now, where does that trust and authenticity come from? Well, it comes from exactly the same things that word of mouth has. So it comes from the relevance and the trust. Okay, so micro-influencers, content creators are producing content that resonates with their audience. And something about their content, by definition, means it resonates with their lives. And they also are authorities on the content that they produce. They're thinking carefully about how they're producing that content. And that's what leads to this trust. And so you end up with a completely trustworthy channel that can deliver word of mouth at scale. Now, we know that authentic micro-influencers come mostly, or come from customers that you already have. So the very best place to start to look for micro-influencers is in your existing customer base. And if you take nothing else away from this session, it's those customers of yours where you're going to find the most authentic brand ambassadors, champions, and influencers. Okay? That brings me on to my co-presenter, Bike Club. I'm here with Grant Warnock. Grant, if you want to come to the stage. Bike Club So Grant is CMO of Bike Club, and Bike Club is an incredible business. It's solving a real pain point that all parents have. So parents want to take their children for a bike ride. The classic challenge is you go to the shed and you find that all the bikes are too small again, because kids have a habit of growing, right? And so Bike Club solves this problem perfectly. And parents love to tell people about the solution to that problem, so word of mouth and recommendation are the perfect medium for Bike Club. Bike Club's been a client of Mention Me for the last 3 years, and on the back of their success with referral, we're launching and have launched their first micro-influencer program. So welcome, Grant.
Hey, Tim.
Thank you for being here. And maybe just tell us a little bit about Bike Club and what it was like before Mention Me.
Yeah, well, as you say, so we've worked with Mention Me since I started at Bike Club. But actually, if we wind the clock back further than that, my working relationship with Mention Me goes back about 8 years. So I joined an early team at Nutmeg, the investment platform. And at the time, and this is well before we were talking about micro-influencers in any way, but we started, like many startups do, running our own referral program. And I don't know how many people are in a marketing client-side team, but you might recognize this. It starts on a spreadsheet, some reconciliations, your business is scaling, your members are scaling. Before you know it, you have 10 spreadsheets. At the end of the month, Kay does reconciliations, then Kay goes on holiday and no one's told anyone, so then the reconciliations don't get done and everyone's fighting. It's a nightmare. But then we had a really good tech team, so you go, well, let's automate it. And thank God about that time, we sort of stepped back from that path of madness to go, hang on, why are we about to try and build something that already exists and people have done it really well and it's scalable and it's automated and it's genuinely plug and play. People always use plug and play. It's never plug and play. And Mention Me kind of was plug and play. I mean, I remember going, how many weeks is it going to be up and running? And they're like, no, it'll be Friday. You know, so that was back at Nutmeg, and we scaled, and Mention Me was with us right to the point when Nutmeg was sold to JP Morgan, a really great deal. I left, joined Bike Club, and I think it was my week 2 decision, which is referrals, pick up the phone to Mention Me, easiest decision I made, and that's kind of brings us mostly up to date.
And tell us why referral really works for Bike Club.
So why referral? I mean, it's really not why referral, because if you're in a B2C high-growth business, it's not why referral, it's how you're going to do it. You have to have referral. Now, you can leave it to be fairly organic, and you can measure, in your inbound surveys how many people are doing it naturally. That's fine, but there will come a time when you need to kind of boost it and nurture it, and that purely leaving it organically isn't quite enough. And I mean, let's face it also, again, if you're a client-side marketing team, you'll know you get lots of helpful advice from senior stakeholders. And in the Bike Club, senior stakeholders, they tend not to be with the mechanic saying, why don't you put the gear shaft on like that? But they do tend to be, what are you doing about referrals? It's the one marketing channel everyone's got an opinion about. So genuinely, on a sort of like defensive strategic play, you've got to have a really strong referral program running, if not to say, we're on this, this is as, we're using our word of mouth. And if you're a D2C brand who's lucky enough to have a product that people love, it would be insane not to really leverage referrals, because that's your superpower. So again, be organized, be systemic about it, have a framework, kind of framework that Mention Me platform that provides you.
Yeah. Let's just look at this. I was talking about the data that you find underneath the covers when you look at referral programs. This is what we call a network. This person these all the dots represent customers, so people who've actually spent money with the brand. This is what we call the network starter, and you can see this person has real influence. There are 171 customers on this network, and this is just one of many networks that Bike Club has, so these are real customers. And you can see that this particular person has recommended a lot of different people, so they've come and they've signed up, they've become real subscribers. And not only that, but they've also brought in other referrers who out here who've gone on to refer other people as well. And so this is kind of the power of looking through the lens of the data underneath referral and word of mouth and understanding where your influencers are. So how do you think about this data?
Well, funnily enough, I don't want to sound like I spend my whole time defending myself against senior stakeholder criticism, but at, to say, a board-type meeting, without naming names, we got the question, another helpful suggestion, which was, well, why don't you look at your referral program and see who's referring a lot and do something with that? And I was able to go, pretty cool. Actually, you might be interested. Actually pulled this, literally this up and said, we've looked at our data. Here's a network, 171 people, and we're we understand it, we're on it, we're leveraging it, and it's just a brilliant way of going, we know this, we're on it, we understand our data, we're not leaving any opportunity hidden there. And in fact, that was then the gateway to explaining this new program, which we'll talk about in a minute, is, again, that's not just a pretty picture. We are going to literally use that super referrer in the middle as an ambassador, as the basis for a new, almost a new channel really for us, which again we'll get onto in a second.
So yeah, tell us all about the micro-influencer program. What are you going to do?
Yes, as I say, so early on at Bike Club, we knew we're a family brand, so again, we knew influencers would be some part of our strategy. Early on, we looked at some of the big influencers, the Stacey Solomons, if you like. Very quickly, we realized we would burn our budget so quickly. The thought of like kind of doing like half your quarterly budget on 3 Instagram posts just made me feel a little bit uneasy. So we thought, no, it's about families, right? It's about family stories. So let's go to micro-influencers. First go, actually, we joined a platform, one of these sort of influencer marketplace. You might have seen them. People go on, basically, they put bids in. You put a brief in saying, we'd like a family with 2 kids, and they go, yes, I've got that. And it kind of worked. You got content, but with the best one in the world, those influencers, the next day they do a chocolate bar, and the next day they do a perfume. And funny enough, that authenticity, or the slight lack of authenticity, with respect, did come through. They weren't our members. They couldn't say, oh, I joined Bike Club 2 years ago and I had a second child. They didn't have a Bike Club story. It was kind of apparent that content was like here today, gone tomorrow. So we backed out of that platform. We started running our own UGC micro-influencer program. Here's some of the stuff we're getting. I mean, you know, we haven't got an unboxing one there, but I know this lad, that was him like 5 minutes after he'd unboxed. Look at the excitement coming off his face. Obviously you can't fake it, and stock photographs would never capture that. Again, this young lady, she was like, that's kind of like 2 months down the line, she'd been on a journey of like learning to ride a bike, and this was her peak confidence, so you had a whole story. So we were running it ourselves, pretty happy doing it, and guess what, this will sound familiar, it starts to become a bit complicated. We've got admin, we've got to send out, sort of content, managing it, and fairly quickly we realized that, once again, this is kind of like using up too much of our resource, and if only there was a sort of platform that was there for this. And in fact, what about a platform where it already had referral data? We could go back to the person, that super referrer at the center of that network, and go, well, hang on a minute, who'd be the perfect person to generate UGC content, be a super referrer, ambassador, and without starting to sound like being a Mention Me influencer myself, actually, Mention Me's new sort of trusted acquisition platform was, again, the perfect solution to a sort of good problem we had, which was a great channel that was becoming too much for us to manage.
That's brilliant. And so micro-influencers produce content as part of their reach, right? And so how do you use the content that's produced across your other marketing channels?
Well, I mean that's a great thing, because if you see this type of content immediately replaces your stock photo. I mean, success for me in our marketing content funnel is we have probably gone from sort of 1.50% stock photos, or whether we use catalog or lifestyle stuff, to like almost none of it now, because it's always better to use your own members' content. I mean, of course it is. They are using our service, our products, they're not our bikes, they're our supplier partnership bikes, but they're using our service, and right from unboxing through to, the peak, as I say, absolute peaks of bike skills, that's the content we use, and it's all authentic. It's free in a sense, it's not licensed stock stuff, but it just, that's our content.
Perfect. And the other thing that's sometimes tricky when you're setting up a micro-influencer program is how you reward your micro-influencers. Yeah. So tell us a bit about how you think about rewarding them.
Well, it's great actually with our product. It's relatively straightforward. We've tried a few things, and cash obviously, and vouchers and things, but actually we want to create family memories, amazing family cycling memories, and the best thing we can do is enable families to do that with free bikes effectively. So we're a monthly subscription service, so we effectively say, as long as you're an ambassador, you're on free bikes, basically. Your family will not pay for kids' bikes. And it's great is it naturally continues that journey, because we can have, we've got a balance bike here. No, we can get a 3-year-old on a balance bike, and at around 14, they can probably getting just too big for our largest mountain bikes. So it's 11 years, and obviously we haven't yet had anyone go on an 11-year UGC journey. But actually, some of our UGC creators are so enthusiastic and so love it that they might be with us 11 years. And I just imagine having like an 11-year journey of a family on our bikes. This would just be incredible.
Yeah. One of the other things about micro-influencers, you tend to find they can also help answer questions that new customers might have about the business. So how does it work? How often can I change my bike? They give an education about how the product works. That means, again, they're landing much more quickly. They're much more ready to buy when they actually come to the brand in the first place. Okay, so we've got this referral and micro-influencer platform and running together. What's the future for micro-influencers in Bike Club?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, the future, ideally, is watching some of these children grow up. We want to scale it, and it seems scalable. If you're not having to do any, or if you're not having to go out and find, because the trickiest thing in ways is going to find the right people to become your ambassadors, to become UGC creators. The data effectively gives us a prospect pool of the perfect profile, and in fact, we're going to do some lookalike modeling to say, okay, once you've found your perfect ambassadors, well, these people in the data look just like them, there's a very high chance that they'll be the perfect ambassadors. So you can actually scale through your membership data. I'd love to have 30, 40, 50, and as we grow our membership base, 100 ambassadors generating a ton of content. And as I say, that becomes our marketing content. We don't. It could almost be our entire marketing sort of content funnel be full of our ambassadors creating UGC from this kind of just fantastic, joyous family content.
Yeah, amazing. One of the other things about micro-influencers is you obviously need to keep refreshing micro-influencers over time. They're not going to necessarily have the reach in their own right. And so that's another challenge with doing it yourself, is if you're not careful, you end up with hundreds of micro-influencers that you're struggling to keep engaged. And that's what we can really help with. Okay, we're almost out of time, so thank you very much, Grant, for joining us. I really appreciate it. So hopefully you've learned today that word of mouth is an amazing channel. It brings authenticity, and actually in this age of content creators, micro-influencers are a brilliant way to deliver word of mouth at scale. And if you're interested, if you've got a brand that you think would benefit from this, we'd love to talk to you about it. We are based in the Havana Club Social downstairs. There are a number of good things about the Havana Club. You have tennis on later, you have seats, you have mojitos on tap in a free bar. And so if talking to us isn't the main reason you come down there, we'd love to have a conversation with you. Come down and see us. We'll be there all day today and tomorrow. So thank you very much for your attention, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you.